Madam President, we had a meeting of the Senate Judiciary Committee this morning, and the committee discussed at the outset threats that have been reported against judges, justices, their families, and their homes. This committee has responded with a bill, a bipartisan bill by Senators Cornyn and Coons, to provide more security protection for the Supreme Court. I fully endorse it, and I'm glad that it passed unanimously. It should have. There have been complaints this week about demonstrations in front of the homes of justices and others. I've made my position clear. I think that such demonstrations are totally unnecessary, unwise, and should be discouraged. In some cases, they're reprehensible. The pressure that's trying to be applied on these officials by protesters, whether they're for or against a certain issue, are just unacceptable. And I stand by that position. And I believe that Democrats and Republicans agree that we have to be serious about protecting those who are elected to public office at every level from harassment, intimidation, and above all, from any violence. I condemn those attacks on anti-abortion organizations in 2 states, Wisconsin and Oregon, the firebombing that took place in one. That's unacceptable. Violence is never acceptable in a democracy. Having said that, I beg my Republican colleagues to show some consistency. I was here January 6, 2021, when this insurrectionist mob, inspired by President Trump, came up, crashed down the windows and floors into this Capitol and marched on this chamber. I was on the floor of the United States Senate when we were advised by the Capitol Police to evacuate as quickly as possible to save our own lives. I was in this building when several of the Capitol Hill police stepped up and showed dramatic heroism, and some of them lost their lives as a result of it. 5 to 7 people died on January 6, 2021, as a result of what happened that day. 150 law enforcement officials were attacked. And how did the Republicans respond to that? Senator McConnell personally stopped any effort at a bipartisan commission to determine what caused that attack and how to avoid it in the future. He personally came to the floor and objected. I heard him do it. The only investigations taken place in the Democratic House of Representatives, and thank goodness several Republican congressmen and women have stepped forward. I want to salute from my own state Republican Congressman Adam Kinzinger. He joined this effort, this bipartisan effort to investigate January 6, 2021. He's retiring now. He paid a heavy price for his decision, but it was a principled decision. I respect him for it. And the same with Congresswoman Lynn Cheney. We probably don't agree on a half dozen issues, but I have to tell you I admire and respect her courage in stepping up and saying she wanted that investigation in the House to be bipartisan, and therefore she was going to be part of the panel. I respect her very much for that. Next month, we're going to have public hearings in the House of Representatives on this issue. We should have had a bipartisan commission looking at January 6, 2021, but Senator McConnell and the Republicans stopped it. What did the Republican National Committee say in an official release about the January 6, 2021 insurrectionist mob who crashed through the Capitol here, desecrating it and endangering the lives of innocent people? What did they say about it? They called it legitimate political discourse. Legitimate political discourse. With 5 to 7 people dead and 150 police officers assaulted, that is illegitimate. That is unacceptable, whether the intended victims were members of Congress or the victims today are members of the Supreme Court. Have the good sense, I say to my Republican colleagues, to be consistent. If you're opposed to violence and believe it's unacceptable in a democratic society, make that standard apply whether the victims are in one branch of government or another. It is absolutely unacceptable in both. I yield the floor.